Hey guys, what's happening? So, wow, I mean, I don't know how I feel about these curls today. They're very like natural. I've done nothing except put oil into my hair and they're kind of like frizz central. They're not like the nice natural curls that I was hoping for, but you know what? It is what it is. This is what my hair looks like and the lighting is very bad. Okay, better lighting. Anyway, today I just wanted to talk to you guys about the modeling industry and why I left, because it was my dream growing up. Anybody that knew me growing up knew that if I wasn't going to be a model, I wasn't going to be anything. And I made it. I did it. I was later to the party than a lot of models. A lot of people, they start when they're like 16, 17, 18, you know, teenager. No, I had no confidence at all, okay? And for me, going to an audition sounded like my worst nightmare. I just wanted to model. I just wanted to like, you know, be on the runway. That was always my dream. I like binge watched America's Next Top Model growing up and absolutely loved it. And I think it's like a fake representation of what the industry is like, absolutely, apart from the bitchiness. But we'll get into that later. But yeah, I just thought it would be a lot easier than it was. And I thought I would be a lot more confident. It was a real struggle and I had to talk myself into it. I had to talk to a lot of friends about what I wanted and my goals and my dreams. I was feeling very lost. And then when I hit 24, I was like, you know what? Life is too short. I'm not going to be young forever. I need to get out there and just do my thing. And I did. So I will get into the story of how I got into modeling, but I am going to find a place to sit down because my arm is already hurting holding this heavy camera. And Ziggy is here with me. Hi. Okay, so Ziggy's gonna join me to talk about this. So anyway, when I was 24, I finally got the courage to go to a modeling agency and audition, and I was like the most excited I've ever been in my life and the most nervous ever. So it was a runway audition and you didn't have to be part of an agency, you could just go and enter, and it was for part of New Zealand Fashion Week. So I was like, holy shit, this is a huge opportunity, like I can't miss this, there's no way I can miss this. If I don't get it, I don't get it, but at least I tried. So I went there and I was like a ball of nerves and everybody was so nice. Everybody else was like super nervous and nobody had any idea of like what they were in for. And one by one we got called into the room and we were asked to show our walk, and straight away I felt kind of uncomfortable. So I went up to the main like desk to talk to the people who were judging us after my walk, and the main guy was like looking at my skin. I mean, I guess like for photography, like shoots and stuff, you need to know like the texture of people's skin, but he was like really intensely studying my skin and I was just like, this is really awkward, I don't know what to say. Like I'm just standing there and you're being like scrutinized a lot, which obviously modeling, you're in it because you look a certain way, you know, everybody wants a different look. So I just went along with it. It was fine and everything was great, and I got in to New Zealand Fashion Week and I was like over the moon, so excited. But then there were a couple of issues. This is where everything just started to go downhill. So the first issue was that if we were to walk in this runway show, we weren't getting paid because we were not experienced. And this is everybody that auditioned except the people that were already in the agency. And I'm not going to mention any names. There's this one agency that was running this contest. And part of the contest was that if you got into the runway show that you would then get a place in the modeling agency, which was like all good, fine, but you weren't going to get paid for your time. I was like, that's totally fine, like whatever, I don't really care about the pay, I'm not here for the money, I had a really good job anyway, getting paid really well elsewhere, so I was just there because I wanted to be in on the modeling side of things. So anyway, I was super excited, came home, and then we get an email with like all the requirements that we needed to be in this show. Like we had to turn up for this practice, this rehearsal, this photo shoot, this interview, this video interview. And obviously when you go and audition for this, they don't tell you any of this stuff. So I had like no idea that this was going to take up so much of my time. But you know what? This was my dream. I dropped everything and I went along to every single thing they asked me to go to. I want to say I spent maybe like over a total of like 4 days. I want to say I spent like 20 hours maybe unpaid, just being there, like learning how to walk, doing a video interview for like the modeling agency's brand. And then it came time to walk in Fashion Week and I was like, holy shit, this is my moment. And I was so excited, and I'd been selected by the designer to walk in 2 gowns, and so that was a major. Not everybody gets 2 gowns, and I was like so excited, and they were like really gorgeous gowns. So it was super exciting. We walked the runway show. It was a competition at the end, like 3 girls that walked as the best or had the best walk got like some small prizes of like $50 or something, I don't know. And that was all good, and the experience was really crazy. I really enjoyed it. But red flag number 1 was that although you'd just done all that work for free and just walked in that huge runway show for free, and yes, I was getting experience, I then had to pay to be in the agency. Now, I wish I had somebody to tell me that if you are joining a modeling agency, you should never pay to join a modeling agency. If they want you, they will take you and they will pay you. It shouldn't be the other way around. So this was super sketchy. I was like, at the time I had no idea, but we didn't have to pay it up front. It wasn't much money, but it would be deducted from your first job. So I just went along with it. I was like, this is my dream, you know, amazing. We were told to go out on these go-sees where you go meet clients and see where you get the jobs. And for every go-see I went on, I got the job, and I was so happy. And my first job that I went to, I was like, this is great, because this job, even though it's an 8-hour shoot, I'm gonna pay off my modeling agency fee, and then the next time I work, I'm gonna be paid. So I'm getting paid to literally live my dream, and I was so excited. I did this shoot, and the shoot was great. The photos turned out really well, but I was told that I was not allowed to post them or anything like that, which can be normal in the industry. You know, maybe you can't post them until they've been like printed by the company that you're working for themselves. But I was told, like, under no circumstances are you to post these. Okay, fine, whatever. I'm not doing it for that. I didn't really want the photos, but I really wanted them for my portfolio. So I asked the boss, the modeling agency, like, can I please have these for my portfolio? Like, obviously I'm trying to build up my image. And he said no. He was like, this is a completely private job. Okay, weird. Didn't ask any questions. At this point, it was all starting to seem a little bit odd. Then I went on my second go-see, and it was another runway, and runway is what I wanted to do. And straight away the client loved me and wanted to book me, which was amazing. Again, just like making me super confident. We did a rehearsal, and I was under the impression that this was a paid job. I was chosen as the finale girl, and also I was in 2 other dresses. So it was like the client, I was like kind of like the favorite. And the client was like, 100% I'll be using you again after you did so well in this runway. She was talking to me like I was like bestie. She was just so happy to have me there, and she loved my look and everything, which is really unusual. And then it came to the end and everything was good. They gave us this little goodie bag, which was super cute. It had like some little products, like mini products, like a little lipstick and some other little bits and bobs, and I was like, this is so nice, like wow, like what a great environment to work in. And after the runway, and again, you've got to imagine, it's not just the runway. You're not just there on the runway for half an hour. Like, you are literally there all day in hair and makeup, going through the motions, and like it's hours and hours and hours of prep, waiting around, you're not getting fed, all that kind of stuff. So it's like a whole day of work, and obviously you're not going to work that day for anybody else, so you're taking the whole day of your time. Anyway, I find out afterwards it's not a paid runway and that not only did I waste my time on the day, but I wasted my time on the go-see, which I took time off my normal job to go and see the client and do a rehearsal and a run through and an audition. And so this is now the second job that I had done. I'd done the photo shoot and then the runway, and I hadn't been paid. So I was like, this is really odd. And I hit up the modeling agency and I was like, look, is every job not going to be paid? And they said, no, you just are still paying off your modeling agency fee. And I was like, no, I definitely have paid that off. Like, I know how much the first shoot was supposed to pay, and I paid that off. And they were like, well, the client didn't pay as much as they said they were going to. And I was like, that is not my issue. Like, you guys need to figure that out, because that's not my issue. If the client's not paying you what you've asked for, that's your job to chase that up. That's not my job to like take that hit. So I go to another rehearsal, and this time the modeling agency boss came with me, and he drove me to the job himself and talked me through what the client wanted. And this was for a photo shoot that was going to go on their website. This was a clothing company, so I was going to shoot a lot. It was going to be days and days work. And I was taking over from another girl who was leaving the agency because the client had told her that her ankles were too fat. And so my modeling agency boss had sent them photos of me full length, and they'd seen my ankles, which apparently were like the right size for what they wanted. I mean, whatever, okay? I just thought that whole thing was weird at the time, but if that's what they want skinny ankles. This whole industry is about how you look anyway, right? So whatever, you just go with it. And I was like, great, I've been chosen. I mean, there was like probably 100 girls on the site that had beautiful ankles, and I'd been chosen to go and see the rehearsal with the modeling boss by myself. I was very excited. I get there, I spent 3 hours there with the client, and they, again, really liked me, I thought, and everything was going really well. And we left, and I'd taken heaps of photos for them, just as like, you know, a test shoot to make sure that everything was right. I guess like that my ankles were right and I was the right look for the website and stuff. And they were just in the boutique, so not like against a professional background or anything. Anyway, I get a call the next day saying unfortunately I didn't get the job, and I know that's part of the industry and that's totally fine. I accepted it. But then like a week later, I went onto the site to see if anything had changed. I actually really liked their clothes. I wanted to check them out, and my photos were up on the website, the photos that I'd taken in the boutique. And so I called my modeling boss and I was like, why are my photos on this website? I thought I didn't get the job. And he's like, oh yeah, sometimes they use a test shoot when they run out of photos. And I was like, that's absolutely not okay. I have not been paid for my time to go there, and I didn't consent for those photos to go out. And he's like, you don't need to consent, you're our model, and we can give the client consent to use your photos. And just something about this whole thing was just, I mean, all these things were adding up, and it was just becoming clear to me that it was going to be very hard for me to earn money with this agency. So I hung up the phone. I was really angry. I really wanted them to take the photos down. And not only that, they weren't going to send me the photos for me to use on my portfolio or on my social media to promote myself. And at this point, I started doing some time for print photo shoots with other photographers, which means that you give your time and they give you photos. You don't get paid, but you get to build up your portfolio. So I started doing this, and my agency was like, you absolutely cannot work with photographers that are not working with us or that we haven't approved. You can't use these photos on your social media. They had all these rules that I didn't have a contract for. And at the first runway for Fashion Week, they got us all to sign a contract, but never ever gave us a copy of this contract. So I never saw anything in writing that I couldn't use photos, there was no photographer, and stupidly, I didn't ask for a copy because I had no idea that this was gonna get so crazy and so intense. Anyway, I had thought about this whole situation, and I was really pondering the whole thing, and I was just concerned that this wasn't going anywhere good. And so again, I call my boss and I'm like, look, I don't feel comfortable right now. I'm on the verge of leaving the agency. It's sort of taking advantage of my time. I haven't been paid once. I've definitely paid off my agency fee. Where is this going? Like, I just need an answer. And he said to me, Gracie, like, I really want to give you some paid work, but there's some issues with you. And I was like, okay, give it to me. You know, maybe it's an attitude thing, although I'd been so calm and relaxed with him because I didn't want to give off any vibes that I was like difficult to work with, you know, because you hear about all these models that are like sassy and nobody wants to work with them. So I've been really like chill the whole time. And he's like, yeah, so I definitely think you need under eye fillers, otherwise you're not going to get booked. And also while you're there, you may as well just get some filler in your top lip as well. And I just think you also need to just like tone up a little bit. Okay, I don't know if you can see me, guys, but I'm a size 6. Like, I'm teeny tiny. I'm toned, like my stomach is quite toned. Like, not anymore. I mean, I'm 27 now, so it's been some time since then. But back then I was like in the best shape of my life and super confident with how I felt when I looked in the mirror. Like the most confident I've ever been. I just had gotten myself to a place where I was really happy with my body. I wasn't comparing myself to anyone else. I wasn't judging myself on the little pieces of my body. And so to hear someone say like, you need to get under eye filler, you need to get Botox in your lips, maybe even get your forehead. I had no wrinkles at all. He's like telling me all these things that I need to change about myself, and I believed it at the time. I was like, that's why I'm not getting paid. That's why I'm not getting these big jobs, because I'm not good enough. And so slowly over the year that I was with them, my confidence just decreased so much. I got under eye fillers. I didn't get Botox in my lips because I just didn't want to. I never ever saw any value in that. I just don't think it would look good on me. I never have. I don't think I ever will. But I got the under eye fillers, and yeah, okay, it looked good. Like, it's gone now. It wears off after like 3 months, but I got it once. And I called him and I was like, I got it. And he's like, amazing, you'll definitely get booked more now. Like, we're gonna get such higher paid jobs, but please think about getting your lips done. You know, and I think we should lighten your hair and change your whole look, which is normal for the industry. And he's like, so like, how many times a week are you hitting the gym? Like, what's your diet like? And I'm like, he's like, maybe you need to go on a juice cleanse, you know, just lose a little bit of weight. And they would like, I was just like looking back now, I'm like, what the fuck? So at this point I was getting more paid jobs. We'd had so many conversations, and he could tell that I was really unhappy with the fact that I wasn't gonna work anymore unless I was getting paid. So anyway, I go to a couple of these jobs, and they're like, I don't even know how to describe them, but we were like doing runways in clubs and like real, I don't know, it felt kind of trashy. It didn't feel like the high-end modeling I wanted to do. And we were getting paid like $25 an hour, whereas normally for runway you can get paid a lot of money. Like, I've since been paid a lot of money for the work that I've done. I was going on photo shoots and getting $100 for the day, which back then I thought was normal, and I was like, I'm getting paid, it's fine, this is just a dream of mine, and I have another job, so you know, whatever. And then I met somebody else in the industry just through chance, through my other job, and she told me how much she was getting paid in her agency for runway. She told me how much she was getting paid for photo shoots, and I was like, is this normal, or is this just because you are experienced and are getting booked so much? She was like, no, absolutely, this is normal. And I was like, wow, you must have paid off your agency fee so quickly. And she's like, what agency fee? What do you mean? And it just all started to become really scary in my mind, that a whole year of my life I just wasted. And as you know, nobody gets younger. You're not gonna get younger. You don't get that time back. And being in the industry so late in my life compared to a lot of models who start, like I said, when you're 16, 17, 18, I was like really starting late. And so my time in the industry was very limited. And I just wasted a year of that on this company who totally taken me for granted and put me in really shitty jobs and not paid me for my time fairly. Anyway, there was a client that I was consistently working for. So I was doing their website shots, and I did get quite close with them. And I had made a cheeky comment one day after finding out what my new friend was getting paid about the pay, you know, and how much my friend was getting paid. So they didn't know that I had another job and that I wasn't just modeling. And so I made a comment saying, you know, I don't know if I'm going to be in the industry very long. I don't know if I'm going to stay with this company for much longer because I just can't support myself. And the client had said to me, you know, well, like, where do you live? Like, how much is your rent? This is crazy. Like, how come you can't support yourself? I've seen you doing other jobs. I know you're doing runway, la 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 la. And I was like, well, you know, like $25 an hour or like $100 for a shoot, it just doesn't cut it for me. Like, you know, if I do 5 a week, that's covering my rent. And so the client literally stood there with their jaw to the floor, like, and she was just in total shock. And she was like, I cannot believe that is what they're paying you. We are paying thousands of dollars a day for you to be here, thousands. And the agency tells us that they take a 20% cut. At this point, I knew it was time for me to leave. And so you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to discuss pay with clients. But at this point, it had been a year and I knew what the industry rates were. And I just needed to confirm for myself what was going on. And so, yes, that might have got the agency in trouble with the client, and that's not good. That's a really shitty thing to do if you're working for an agent. But I just felt like I needed to know, they needed to know what was going on. And it all came crumbling down. I called my boss and said, I know what's going on. You guys are totally underpaying me. This is so not cool. I shouldn't have been charged an agency fee. And he's like, well, it's all in your contract, how much you're paid. And I was like, well, I need a copy of my contract. He's like, oh, I'm like, yep, I'll get it to you, no problem. And so the contract never came. Once I'd left, I apparently was supposed to give notice, but he just never talked to me again. He blocked me on all social media. I wasn't able to see any of the company accounts, any of the agency accounts. And some of the girls that I knew through the agency were also told that I was meddling in business, I was trying to steal clients, which is absolutely not true. After this whole experience, I had no interest in modeling whatsoever. I'd like had my fair share and I was just not about it. So anyway, this is all to say, be very careful. If you are someone who's looking to go into the modeling industry, go for it. I've heard so many wonderful stories of how amazing modeling can be, and you know, I did gain a lot of things from it. I gained more confidence with the more work I did. I gained the experience of, you know, how to pose in front of a camera and all those kinds of things. But I would just say, red flags: do not ever pay an agency fee for a modeling agency to be a part of them. If they want you, they will sign you and they will sell you as a product to their clients. And always find out what the going rates are in your industry, in your area. Don't ever be taken for granted. Don't be told that you're gonna work for free, but you're gonna gain experience from it. Like, you are valuable, your time is valuable. Everything you do is your time that you could be getting paid somewhere else. I just had to get up because Ziggy just threw himself into the fireplace full force off of the sofa and he started crying. Anyway guys, my point is that you are valuable, you're worthy, and don't let anybody take you for a ride and take advantage of you. And maybe I should have tried a different agency, but after that I was just so like put off the whole thing. And I realized that modeling also just made me very, very conscious about how I looked. And never again will I be told that I need to look a certain way, that I need filler, that I need Botox, that I need to be slimmer. I'm super confident in myself now. I'm like, I have more weight on my body than I ever have, and I'm so happy. And I can honestly look in the mirror and feel confident. And nobody's gonna tell me that I'm not beautiful for the way I look, and nobody ever should tell anybody that, because they can be life-lasting comments that will stick with you forever. So that is my story of why I left the modeling industry. When I was really active on social media, I would get photographers messaging a lot, asking to do a time for print photo shoot. I'd get brands reaching out to do photo shoots after I'd left the agency. And I just wasn't interested. I just didn't want to be around it. I didn't want to be around that, as you know, like that world where everything is just so much about how you look. And so I stopped posting on my Instagram as much, because my life is really good. I don't need to be worried about how I look and posting photos about how I look. And don't get me wrong, I do it every now and then. Just, I'm having a good day, I feel good, you know, just post a little photo, but my Instagram serves no purpose anymore. And so I guess this is also a PSA to those who do reach out to me, if you see this, that I will not be doing any photo shoots probably ever again, unless it's like, you know, for my family one day, or, you know, for a specific purpose. But it just doesn't interest me anymore, and I'm really grateful that I had that experience, because it was something that the little girl in me always wanted to do. But unfortunately it didn't work out the way that I thought it would, and I'm glad, because now I'm in a career that makes me really happy and is not really focused on how you look. It's more focused on how you work and all those kinds of things. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed my story, guys, and hopefully you take something from this to always look after yourself and be your biggest cheerleader.